recording. It is about 1:11 p.m. on Tuesday, September 12th, 2023. We're doing a pretrial interview with Douglas Downing in State of New Mexico versus Lane Myers. Cause number M191MR 2023-44. M191MR 2023-00044. On the video, it is myself, Kent Wahlquist, with the District Attorney's Office. We have Lane Myers on the recording, on the video, and we also have Douglas Downey, or I assume Douglas Downey. You and I actually haven't met. Are you Douglas Downey?
Yes.
Okay. And that's everything. Go ahead, Mr. Myers, ask your questions.
Thank you. How you doing, Mr. Downey?
Well,
Thank you. Can you state your name for the record, please?
Douglas Downey.
Do you have a badge number with the U.S. Forest Service?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a badge number?
I'm not a law enforcement official.
Who do you work for?
I work for a private company,
And what is the name of it?
Recreation Resource Management of America.
And who is your supervisor at that company?
Laura Blount.
Do you know Tom Zadek?
I do.
Is he your supervisor?
He's a manager, yes.
Is he your supervisor?
He's the manager, yes.
Is he your supervisor?
How many times do I have to say yes?
I feel like that's the same question. So maybe, Mr. Downey, can you explain the structure of the company so we can get a clear picture as to who reports to who?
Tom Zadek is a director of the organization of the different localities that the company is located in. So he's a supervisor, yes.
You don't report to him, though?
Not directly.
Thank you. Have you spoken to any of your supervisors about this incident?
Yes.
Which ones? Or one?
Laura Blount.
Excuse me?
Laura Blount.
Did you speak to Tom Zadek about this incident?
He received the incident report.
But you haven't personally had a conversation with him?
No.
Okay. Thank you. What did your supervisor tell you when you spoke to them?
Nothing.
And who does your company that you work for have a contract with?
The U.S. Forest Service?
Does the U.S. Forest Service own Hopewell Lake Campground?
As far as I know.
As far as you know, Hopewell Lake is owned by the Forest Service?
What did I just say?
Is that something on your end, that noise?
It's
We're
the
hearing
rain.
a lot of background noise.
That's not from me.
That's the rain.
Oh,
It's the rain, you're saying?
It's the rain.
Who is your contact at the United States Forest Service?
I don't have a contact.
You don't deal directly with the Forest Service in any way?
I do occasionally.
And who do you speak to when you do that?
A lady by the name of Jennifer.
Jennifer.
I have no clue.
Does Jennifer Sublet sound familiar?
I'm not sure if that's it or not.
When was the last time you spoke to this lady named Jennifer?
Maybe a month ago.
So approximately the middle of August?
Maybe.
And what did you speak about with her?
I couldn't tell you. Occasionally we talk.
Did you speak to Jennifer about the incident on July 1st involving Mr. Myers?
I did.
And what did you tell Miss, we'll just call her Jennifer?
That there was an incident with a person and he was escorted off the property.
Can you give a little bit more detail?
The person took over a spot that was already reserved. Actually, I'll back up. That a person came in with a public landowner shirt and cornered me in the bathroom as I was cleaning, demanding answers about water. Why water wasn't working, and I explained to him that he needed to contact the Forest Service and discuss it with them as far as the repairs. And then I had went around cleaning the bathrooms and noticed that person in a campsite that was already reserved. When I went and talked to him and asked him to move and gave him the option to move to different sites, and went back an hour later and they were still there, and observed beware of dog sign on the vehicle. When I got out of my vehicle, a dog approached me quite rapidly, and I pulled my mace, and the dog was called back, and the person came running at me screaming with his hands folded and fist, yelling at me, telling me to get back, to get off the property. And I asked him to leave the property at that time.
And that's what you told Jennifer?
Yep.
Did you tell her anything else?
That the state police, I contacted state police, they came in, that the state police went back to move you out of the property, and there was an incident and a scuffle, and the person went to jail.
All right, so moving forward with these questions for timeliness, can you do your best to give complete answers? If you have more to say it. Don't have me ask the same question multiple times to get a further answer. So did you tell Miss Jennifer that Mr. Myers punched the cop in his face, broke his nose, and it took 2 cops to take Mr. Myers to the ground?
I did not.
Do you know who told Miss Sublette that?
I don't know.
So if I pull up a copy of the incident report that says that you said that, is that not your incident report?
I'm sorry?
Okay, I'm going to pull up the incident report that is alleged to have came from you, in which it states that you stated that Mr. Myers punched the cop in his face and broke his nose, and it took 2 cops to take him down.
No, I didn't write that.
You didn't write that?
Nope.
But you wrote the rest of the statement?
I don't even know what statement you're talking about, sir.
The one you gave to Jennifer, the one that you just referred to when I asked you, what did you tell Jennifer?
I did not give her any written statement.
Just a verbal statement?
I talked to her and I did not say anything about broken noses and bloody noses.
So anything that Jennifer Sublette wrote down was based on a verbal conversation with you? That was her interpretation of what you told her?
It was verbal and nothing more.
So to the best of your knowledge, did Mr. Myers punch Officer Moreno in the face, and did it take 2 cops to take him down?
I don't know. There was 2 police officers that were there, and I was communicated to me that there was a bloody nose and a torn uniform.
And that was communicated by who?
Officer Lee, I believe his name was.
Did he take a statement from you?
No,
Okay, so that was just a conversation?
it was just a conversation.
Okay. Now, did you contact anybody at the Forest Service prior to Mr. Myers being arrested?
No,
Did you contact anybody at the Forest Service prior to Mr. Myers being detained?
no.
Did you contact anyone at the Forest Service prior to you calling 911?
No,
Traditionally, and have you ever had somebody removed from Hopewell Lake campground for trespassing before?
no,
Have you been trained on what to do by your company in a situation involving a camper?
yes.
And what did your training instruct you to do?
To de-escalate, and if it was threatening, to call 911 and have the police come out.
And is that if somebody breaks the law or just in general?
If I'm threatened or feel threatened, or there's a reason to contact the law enforcement, to contact 911 and let them deal with it.
Is there a reason you did not contact the owner of the property, the United States Forest Service?
They were contacted later on, I'm sure.
No, I'm asking you, sir.
I contacted 911 per direction of my company,
Was that per direction of your company or the United States Forest Service?
or the company's procedures.
Does your company have a special use permit with the United States Forest Service?
As far as I know, you would have to ask them.
Who told you to go to, what was your purpose at Hopewell Lake Campground then?
To provide host services and manage the campground and lake.
Does that mean to make sure everybody's following the rules of the campground?
Correct.
And who sets the rules of the campground at Hopewell Lake?
I believe it's between the Forest Service and the company.
You believe the company that you're referring to as in the Recreation Resource Company?
And the Forest Service.
You believe that the Recreation Resource Management private company has input on the laws and regulations at Hopewell Lake Campground?
Those are, you would have to ask Recreation Resource.
Okay, that's right now I'm asking Douglas Downey.
Douglas Downey does not know the answer to that question.
Okay, do you know which agency is responsible for enforcing the potential violations of the rules at Hopewell Lake Campground?
It would be the police, 911 if I called them, the sheriff, the law enforcement, Forest Service law enforcement, Forest Service, Recreation Resource Management.
They're not law enforcement, are they?
Depending on what the rules are.
Okay, so the rules that I'm referring to are the rules that are posted on the sign at Hopewell Lake Campground. Do you need me to pull up a picture of them?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Does this look familiar to you?
I can't see it.
It wasn't staying in focus. That's why we couldn't see it.
It looks like something.
Am I too close or too far?
I can't see it.
It says, "Welcome to your national forest. As a visitor to the national forest, you must follow the rules to protect the forest and the natural environment and to ensure your health and safety. So please follow these rules, okay? So I'll work on getting that onto the big screen here, but this is the rules at Hopewell Lake Campground posted on the sign.
Okay, then if it's the Forest Service that posted it, then they would post that.
So the Forest Service, so would you agree that the Forest Service sets the rules at Hopewell Lake Campground?
For that portion of it, yes.
Which portion?
The portion you're referring to.
I'm referring to the rules at Hopewell Lake Campground.
Correct. And there's
So-
other rules that go along with it too, as the manager.
There's other rules that go along with what the picture I showed you, or something else are you referring to?
Other pictures on the board for quiet time.
That's all in
Pets
that
on a
picture.
leash.
That's all in that
Pets
picture.
have to be on.
Pets do
Checkout
not-
time is 1 o'clock.
According to the
So,
sign,
you
pets
know,
do not.
okay, if it's there, it's there.
Well, that's what I'm asking you, if you're aware of it, of it being there.
I'm aware of the regulations that I just stated.
Just those, or all the rules that apply to Hopewell Lake Campground?
All the ones that I know of, yes.
Is it your responsibility to enforce the rules at Hopewell Lake Campground?
Did you freeze, Mr. Downey? Are you there? He looks frozen on my end.
There he is.
Oh, wait, are you
There?
back, Mr. Downey?
Okay,
Did you hear the question, sir?
I didn't.
Is it your responsibility to enforce all the rules at Hopewell Lake Campground?
All the ones that I do know of that are posted by the company, yes.
So you're referring to rules that are posted by your company? Because that's not what I'm referring. I posted up a picture of the sign at Hopewell Lake Campground that has all the rules of the
Yeah.
campground that are set by the National Forest, the U.S. Forest Service. So I'm asking you, is it your responsibility to ensure that those rules are followed at Hopewell Lake Campground?
No,
Whose responsibility is that?
it's the Forest Service.
Do you believe Mr. Myers was in violation of any of those rules at Hopewell Lake Campground posted on that sign?
Yes,
Did you contact the Forest Service and let them know that Mr. Myers was in violation of those rules on that sign?
no, not immediately.
When did you contact them?
We've already gone through that the next day.
Did you believe, what was the reason you had that you felt you didn't need to contact them prior?
I contacted my supervisor, who in turn contacted the Forest Service.
Prior to Mr. Myers being arrested?
I don't know if it was prior to that or after that they did it.
Well, please only make statements that you can testify to actual knowledge of.
I gave you my answer. I don't know. I talked to my supervisor and they do that.
So you spoke to your supervisor, but you're unable to confirm, like you're not able to give a solid answer on whether your supervisor contacted the Forest Service prior to.
Let's
you
run
calling
around.
911.
Let's run around in circles here. I contacted my supervisor, who would contact Forest Service. When they did it, I don't know.
So to the best of your knowledge, you're not aware of Forest Service being contacted by you or your supervisor prior to you calling 911?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I called 911. I notified my supervisor and called 911.
Because you believe Mr. Myers was in violation of campground rules?
Because he threatened me.
Mr. Myers threatened you?
Yes.
So we'll get to that next. Which campground rules did Mr. Myers violate prior to you calling 911?
You threatened me and your dog attacked me. And that was cause to contact 911. And with your attitude and your aggressiveness, it was a threat to me. So I was not going to deal with it. So I contacted law enforcement.
Can you tell me which rule of Hopewell Lake Campground you're alleging Mr. Myers have broken?
I don't know if there's a rule there for that.
So you don't know if there's a rule, but you know Mr. Myers broke it?
As I stated, you threatened me and your dog approached me, come running at me.
Mr. Downey, all due respect, if a judge was here right now, he wouldn't allow this. I'm going to ask you to
He wouldn't allow what you're doing. He wouldn't allow what you're doing, Mr. Myers. You're asking the same thing again and again and again, and we would move on.
He's not allowed to say he doesn't know.
You have not, you just don't like his answer.
This is not a court of law. He cannot plead the fifth.
He said he doesn't know, and he answered your other questions. Move on and ask another question.
All right, so just to summarize then, Mr. Wahlquist, you're saying that his answer to the question of what posted rules did Mr. Myers violate, you're saying that an acceptable answer is, I don't know?
He has answered your question. Let's move on.
Okay. Have you spoken to anyone at the Forest Service since Mr. Myers was arrested, other than Miss Jennifer?
No.
Has your supervisor notified you of what to do moving forward in a similar situation?
It would be the same situation. I would call 911.
Do you have the authority to have somebody trespass from National Forest land?
I do.
Under what authority?
Under the special use permit.
Can you provide something that shows that?
I can't.
Can you refer to it in the code of the CFR, Title 36? Where can you point me to that?
Need to contact Recreation Resource for that answer.
Who does?
You.
No, I'm asking you to give the answer because you believe you acted under that authority.
I do not have an answer for you. Let's move on.
How far did you run when Mr. Myers' dog was chasing you?
I didn't run because he came running at me.
Who did?
The dog.
The dog came running at you?
Yes. It was not on a leash.
Are they required to be on a leash?
Yes, it's posted on the same board that you took the picture of the rules.
Funny you should mention that. Let's bring that back up then, and we'll go to the section about pets. Because a second ago, you didn't know the rules, but now you know them. So we're going to pull them up just for clarity.
There's a red picture. There's a red notice on the board that says pets must be on a leash.
Pets and animals. Pets are not allowed in swimming areas. Saddle, pack, or draft animals are allowed only in authorized areas. Pets must always be restrained. Where does it say pets must be on a leash?
Restrained is on a leash.
That's your testimony?
I think that's very clear. Being restrained would be on a leash. You cannot run it. It cannot be running loose.
It's your belief that in a national forest, a dog must be on a leash?
In the campground, yes.
And it is your belief based on something you read somewhere?
It's posted on the board.
That pets must be restrained. And for the purpose of this discussion, you're using the word restrained as on a leash?
That would be correct.
So Mr. Myers' dog came at you and you did not run?
I did not. I pulled my mace and was going to spray him if he got close enough to bite me.
And where were you standing when this took place?
In campground 21.
And what was your reason for being in campsite 21?
To advise the person that was there that they needed to move, who I had already communicated to them probably an hour earlier that they needed to move, and gave them options, and they still had not moved.
So you prior to the interaction involving you pulling out your mace, you had already informed Mr. Myers that he needed to move.
Correct.
And your intention with coming back a second time was to do what?
To ask them to move again.
Had you called 911 at that point?
No.
When was the first time you felt threatened by Mr. Myers?
When he came running at me with his arms up above his head and his hands turned into fist, yelling at me, cussing at me, being very vulgar at me. That's when I felt threatened.
So at no point prior to that, not when he talked to you about the water being broken, not the first time when you informed him to move, during any of those conversations, you did not feel threatened?
Nope.
Was Mr. Myers' dogs on a leash?
No.
Were Mr. Myers' dogs hooked to the bumper of his truck?
No.
If I show you a video right now, would you still say the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. Love it. Okay, so you felt threatened the second time. So this would be the third interaction with Mr. Myers now.
That was the second.
It's the third. Are you changing your testimony because you testified initially about?
What is the third?
You tell us.
You tell me.
I'm going by your testimony that you gave at the beginning of this video.
That was the second interaction with your dogs and you. That was the second interaction. That's when I contacted 911.
What about the first interaction? So what was the first interaction?
When I asked you to move, you had already moved into a site that was reserved, and I asked you to move the first time.
10 minutes ago, did you testify that our first interaction involved me asking you about the water in the bathroom?
No, that's not it.
You didn't just testify to that.
I said the first time that I talked to you was at the bathroom. The next time was when you were in the campsite and I asked you to move and gave you options. And then I came back around again, which would be the second time, and
Wouldn't that
asked
be
you.
the third, sir?
Okay, it's the third time. I'm sorry. You're right. It's the third time.
Sir, there's nothing to get hostile. I'm just going by your testimony. Initially,
He was explaining his answer. He was explaining his testimony, and then you interrupted him.
It's the third
Ask
time.
a question and let him answer. Ask a question and let him answer.
Okay.
Go ahead. It's the third time. I'll let you go. Go. Third time.
So that was the third time.
Yep.
So the third time you spoke to Mr. Myers, you felt threatened. In which manner did you feel threatened?
I felt like you were going to punch me or attack me, and I was preparing for that.
Did Mr. Myers punch you?
No, because I stood my ground.
Did Mr. Myers attack you?
No.
Did Mr. Myers make physical contact with you in any way?
No.
Did Mr. Myers throw anything at you?
No.
Did Mr. Myers pull out any weapons?
No,
Did Mr. Myers come towards you aggressively?
very aggressively,
How close did Mr. Myers get to you?
within an arm's reach.
My arms are almost 4 foot long. So do we want to go by my arms?
You can go with your arms. Fine.
So Mr. Myers came up with the approximate, Mr. Myers aggressively, as you testified, quickly and rapidly came towards you, but then stopped approximately 4 feet short of you. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is somebody being 4 feet away from you a threat?
Yes, when they're in that manner, yes.
Which manner?
Aggressively, hands clenched, fist clenched, cussing, being vulgar, that's threatening.
By your definition?
Yeah, by my definition.
Do you know the legal definition of threatening?
I'm sure you'll tell me.
Come on, Mr. Wahlquist. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. You can't have a sarcastic witness and then try to hold me down for something. So he can go by the, he can't give sarcastic answers.
If it's an answer, ask your question and he will answer it.
And I did. And he said, I'm sure you'll tell me.
The question was, Mr. Downey, do you know the legal definition of threatening?
I don't.
There, ask your next question.
Thank you. What specific threat did Mr. Myers make towards you that made you feel threatened? Because you gave about 7 things.
I think we lost you again, Mr. Downey. Are you frozen? Let's hope that kicks back in a moment.
No worries. He's obviously getting caught lying and he knows it, but we'll get to that in a minute.
There you go.
All right, you're back.
Did you hear the last question?
I didn't.
Did anyone else witness Mr. Myers threaten you?
Not to my knowledge.
Did you tell the 911 dispatcher that Mr. Myers' dogs chased you?
I said, yes, I said that they chased to me, came at me is what I told them.
Do you remember what you told the 911 operator?
In total, no.
Do you have any background? Do you have any background in the field, in the medical field?
In what way?
Have you received any formal training in the field of medicine?
Yes,
Which type?
I was an EMT.
Have you received any training or formal education or certification around mental health or mental or behavior?
No, can't say I have.
Have you taken any psychology classes?
Can't say I have.
What about psychiatry?
I'm not a psychiatrist, no.
Have you ever evaluated anybody for mental health?
I have no reason to do that.
So would it be your testimony that you have no experience evaluating a individual for mental health?
I have no reason to do that. I'm not in the medical field.
Did you refer to Mr. Myers as crazy?
I did not. I said he was unstable.
Did you refer to Mr. Myers as wearing a public landowner shirt?
I did, just like you're wearing it now.
And what does a public landowner shirt mean to you?
I have no clue.
Do you believe that wearing a public landowner shirt is a crime?
There's no reason to wear any t-shirt as a crime.
Did you call 911 and the first thing you said was he's wearing a public landowner shirt?
I don't recall.
Do you have any reason why you would refer to Mr. Myers' shirt in this incident?
I don't know.
Do you believe you referred to Mr. Myers' shirt in this incident?
I don't recall.
We're going to pull it up here. We're going to listen to the 911 call. That way you have a fresh memory of everything. Trying to turn the volume.
His dog come after me. He's got
Cool.
and he threatened me. And
I'm going to rewind. There we go. Can you hear that?
person here in the park that's being very aggressive and
Mr. Downey, can you hear that? What I hear is I can hear Mr. Downey, but I cannot hear the dispatcher.
he's got to wear dog signs on his
Okay, Mr. Downey, can you hear the 911 call?
parts of it.
Here we go.
To see if I can get a unit up here. I've got a person here in the park that's being very aggressive and says he's a public landowner and he's threatened me and his dog come after me. He's got to wear dog signs on his rig and didn't have them tied up, and it came after me and I pulled my spray out and the guy got all upset. And I don't want him in the park. Is it possible to get a unit up here to have them evict the guy?
Yeah. Do you know what his name is?
I don't. I don't want to have any more contact with him. He's pretty off the wall.
Okay. And like what campsite or where are you located at the lake?
I'm sorry?
What campsite or where is it that you're located in the lake?
I'm at campsite 4 in the campground at Hopewell Lake.
Okay.
And that person is currently in spot 18. I'm sorry.
Okay. Is he in like a camper trailer? Is he in a tent?
He's in a pickup truck. Pickup truck with a tent.
Okay. Do you know what kind of truck it is?
It's a red Chevy with a camper shell on it.
Okay, and what's the phone number
I'll
for
be
you?
here, so I don't think they're gonna go anywhere. I just don't need any more interaction with him because he's pretty unstable.
Okay, what's the phone number for you?
806.
We don't need to go that. Okay, so now, were you able to hear that, Mr. Downey?
Yeah, it seems pretty clear, just like I've said before.
That you were able to hear it?
I heard it.
Okay. When you said that Mr. Meyer's dogs chased you, what exactly do you mean by that? If you said that you stood your ground.
They came at me.
They walked towards you?
They ran towards me.
And what led you to believe that you were under attack and being chased?
When a dog comes at you aggressive like that, I felt threatened and I pulled my mace.
Okay, can you describe the method through which the dog attacked you?
It did not bite me. It ran towards me and I felt like he was going to bite me. I've been bitten by dogs before in the same manner.
Have you been bitten by this dog before?
No,
Has this dog came towards you before?
I don't know that dog.
So you've been bit. Did you observe a beware dog sign prior to you walking into the campsite?
I did.
And you chose to walk into the campsite anyways?
I did. Beware dog sign should not be posted in the campground.
And why is that?
I should be able to have access to the campground to clean and everything as time goes on.
So do you believe that a beware dog sign means that the dog is dangerous?
It could be.
Could be or is?
It is.
Are you
If you-
aware of the legal requirement to have a beware dog sign for liability if you have a dog?
I'm not.
So let's say that the dog, there wasn't a beware dog sign and you walked in there and the dog bit you, right?
Okay.
You had no, you wouldn't have known there was a dog.
Okay.
So do you typically walk past beware dog signs with dogs you have never met before?
I look at them and look around. I did not even see a dog in the campground at the time.
But you saw the sign that said beware dog.
Couldn't miss it.
So you got out of your vehicle, saw a beware dog sign, could not confirm or deny if you even saw a dog, and chose to enter the campsite and walk past the beware dog sign anyways?
I didn't walk past the sign. The truck was backed into the back of the campsite.
You didn't. Did you enter the campsite?
I did, from the front.
In plain view of the beware dog sign?
The beware dog sign was in the back where the truck was parked.
When you say in the back, do you mean are you referring to the location of the sign or the truck?
The truck and the sign.
Where was the sign located in the truck?
On the windshield of the truck,
Which windshield?
the front windshield.
And the truck was backed in, you just said?
Yep.
So that would put the beware dog sign directly in your view as you walked into the campsite.
It was 30 feet back from the front of the campsite. So yes,
It was 30 feet back?
yes.
What's the biggest camper you're allowed to park in that site?
I couldn't tell you right off the bat, but probably a 26, 27 footer, 30 footer.
What is the rule?
I'm not following you.
There's a rule of what size can be in there, and you enforce the rules. I'm asking you, what is the legal size for a camper in that parking spot that you just claimed was over 30 foot long?
A 30-foot camper can go in there.
My truck is 23 foot long.
Okay.
Is there a question?
What's the question?
Was my truck more than 7 feet in the site?
Oh, yes, it was long ways in the back. Probably
The
20
back-
feet back.
Was the truck parked on the designated driveway?
No,
Where was it parked?
it was parked off to the side.
Of
It was
what?
parked,
It was what?
it was parked at an angle
In the site,
in the site.
on the gravel?
Between the gravel and the picnic table.
Between the gravel and the picnic table. So you're trying to say that the truck was not parked on the gravel, it was parked next to it, between the picnic table that was at the back of the site?
On the side of the site, yes.
So it's your testimony the truck was approximately 30 feet back into the site.
Correct.
And approximately how far did you walk into the site?
Maybe 10, 15 feet.
So let me clarify something and go back 1 second. When you say the truck was 30 feet in there, are you referring to the back of the truck or the front of the truck?
The truck was about 30 feet in. I mean, I can't say it's the front, the back, or what. It was in about 30 feet.
The truck, the front, I'm asking you a serious question here, and you referred to distance, so you opened the door for this. You're saying that the truck was backed in and it was 30 feet from the entrance to the site. So I'm asking you, was the front of the truck 30 feet from the entrance or the back of the truck?
The front of the truck was 30 feet in.
So if the truck were 23 feet long, approximately 53 feet in was the rear?
Sure.
So you walked approximately 15 feet into the site?
Yes.
And how far were you from the truck at this time?
Maybe 20 feet. I don't know.
So you walked in 15 and the truck was still 20, but the truck was only 30? Because that would be more than 30.
Okay, so the truck was 15 feet in from me after I walked in 15 feet.
Okay, so it was about 30 feet. So you're approximately standing about 15 feet away from this truck that said beware a dog, and then what happened?
The dog ran at me and I pulled my mace.
Which dog?
It was a black dog. Or I should say a dark color dog.
Let's go. Come here. Come here. Come here. Was it this dog?
It may have been.
Nelly, come. Nelly, come. Nelly. Well, I guess my other dog don't want to be on camera. So it could have been that dog, but you don't know for sure?
I don't know for sure. I just know a dog had come running at me.
Did the dog attack you or come running at you?
It come running at me as if it was going to attack me.
Did it actually attack you?
No.
Did you tell the 911 dispatcher as well as Officer Moreno twice that my dog attacked you?
No, that it ran at me like it was going to attack. And I pulled my mace and was going to spray him. And he stopped when you called him back.
When I restrained him.
You didn't restrain him.
So I called him and he came back to me?
Correct.
Okay. So he was under command and control?
I don't know. He stopped running towards me.
When his owner gave him that command?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I just asked you if you told either the 911 dispatch, Officer Moreno, or during this video we've recorded so far, did you say that my dog attacked you?
Yeah, here we go in circles again. He approached me as if he was going to attack me and charging at me as if he was attacking. That is the reference that was used.
Do you feel that there's a difference between a dog attacking someone and a dog not attacking someone?
No, when they run after you, run towards you in an aggressive manner, that is potentially attacking.
I didn't ask about potentially. Okay, we're not here for potentials. We're here to.
That is attacking. To me, that is attacking.
So just to clarify, the 3 times you told, the 1 time you told the 911 and the 2 times you told Officer Moreno, as well as the 1 time you stated on here that my dog attacked you, you don't mean by the legal definition or the Webster's dictionary definition, you mean by Doug Downey's definition.
If I feel like I'm being attacked, that's being attacked. Yes.
Are you stating that as it's a law, or is that just a feeling?
He just explained that. He's answered it, and you've asked this, I want to say 3 times in chunks, 3 or 4 times in each chunk. And so we're getting to a dozen times you've asked this question.
That's how you catch witnesses in a lie.
Ask your next question.
I'm getting to it. I'm not required, trust me. We can keep it civil. For the purposes of calling 911, do you believe that my dog attacked you in a manner that was unlawful?
It was off a leash and should have been on a leash. And when it came at me, if I did not know if it would bite me, if it got to me or not.
Are you aware of the exceptions to CFR 236?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
The rule that I quoted about the dog being restrained. Are you aware of the exceptions to that rule?
No.
Are you aware that service animals are not required to be on leash or restrained?
No.
Did you verify if Mr. Myers' dog was a service animal?
No.
Do you have any injuries from Mr. Myers' dog attacking you?
No.
There's nothing you can point to or show us or have documented?
I've already said probably 5 or 6 times I was not bit or hurt by the dog.
Okay. We're gonna pull up this video of you talking to Officer Moreno here. We're gonna figure out what you mean by the dog attacked me.
Good, and you?
Doing all right. Got a camper in here that I don't.
Mr. Downey, have you ever met Officer Moreno prior to July 1st?
No.
So when you said friend, that was just a figure of speech?
Yes.
Thank you. Now I'm going to play the video.
He came in and went into a site that was already occupied, and I had to ask him to move out of it. And I went back to see what was going on and got out of my truck and started around, and his dog come running at me, and I pulled my mace, and he came out and jumped in my face and told me to get the fuck off his property. He's got a shirt with public landowner.
Yeah.
He's a little psycho. And he finally moved to a different site, but I asked him to just leave because his aggression, I can't deal with that.
Do you have your ID?
Mr. Downey, so you testified that you did not call 911 until after the interaction which required you to pull your pepper spray. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you're the manager?
And it's your testimony that you did not feel threatened prior to that moment.
Correct.
And your statement on that, what you just said on that camera is that Mr. Myers came into a site that was reserved and you asked him to move to a different site. When you asked Mr. Myers to move to a different site the first time, approximately how long between the time you asked Mr. Myers that until he actually moved to the other site?
Probably an hour or more.
What did Mr. Myers tell you on his second interaction when you came and told him he needed to move to a different site?
I'm sorry?
When you came to the campsite, the second interaction, the first one at the campsite, what did you tell Mr. Myers?
That the site was already occupied and you needed to move. And there were several other sites that you could move to.
And what did Mr. Myers say in response?
Your girlfriend was gone walking and you would take care of it after she got back.
When you arrived at the campsite the second time, was my wife there? Mr. Myers' wife there?
I don't recall. There was somebody else in the woods, in the trees. I don't know who it was at that point.
So you did not have a conversation with Miss Hendricks at that moment?
No.
You didn't refer to her as starting crying?
No. You need to leave. That was that site your aggression where she ran up to the road.
Mr. Downey.
His girlfriend started crying. Well, I can stay because that wasn't part of that. That's between you and but he needs to leave.
What was he wearing?
He's wearing a T-shirt that says.
So on your second interaction, the first trip to the campsite, when you told Mr. Myers it was occupied, you do not recall having a conversation with Miss Hendricks?
No.
Did you and Miss Hendricks ever have a conversation about the tag on the post?
No. I showed it to you.
Do you believe that Mrs. Hendricks would testify to that?
I don't know.
Do you believe that the people in the campsite next door would testify that?
I don't know.
Have you talked to the people in the campsite next door?
No.
So it's your testimony that when you came to the site and pulled the pepper spray, you did not see Miss Hendricks?
No, I didn't say that. I said there was somebody in the tree lines. I don't know who it was.
Was it the same person that was crying and you said, well, that's on you, you have to leave, you can talk to him?
I don't know if that was the same person or not.
Really?
That was up at site 18 where she ran up to me on the side of the road,
And said,
if that's
so,
the lady you're referring to.
no, I'm referring to campsite, the original one. Which one was reserved? 21, right?
I never talked to the lady at the site that was reserved. I never talked to a lady there.
Where did the dogs come from?
You had them there. I don't know.
Did I have them there or you do not know?
You must have had them there because they were there with you.
Did you interact with any dogs on the first time you came to speak to Mr. Myers and told him he needed to leave?
Not that I'm aware of.
Did Mr. Myers indicate that his wife was hiking with his dogs and it would take some time for him to get moved?
No. I answered that you said she was gone hiking and you would take care of it when she got back.
Okay. And your testimony is that it was approximately an hour from the time that this conversation we're referring to took place and Mr. Myers moved to site 18.
It was probably longer than that because it was about an hour by the time I went back and checked on you when your dog came running at me and you came running at me threatening me.
Approximately how long after this interaction that you just alleged occurred did Mr. Myers move to the other site?
Probably 15, 20 minutes. I don't know, 30 minutes.
So approximately 15 to 30 minutes after you told him the second time.
Correct.
The second time, did you tell him to move or tell him to leave?
I asked you to leave after you threatened me.
So the second time you didn't tell him to move, you told him to leave.
I asked you if you would leave, yes.
And that was and during this time, you did not observe Miss Hendricks at all.
I don't recall.
You don't recall standing there and talking to her about the ticket on the thing and her pulling out the ticket that was on the post when we pulled in?
I don't.
Do you keep a record of everybody that stays at Hopewell Lake?
There is.
So there's a record of the person who reserved the site that
Correct.
Mr. Myers had to move for?
Yep.
Is it possible that Mr. Myers, when Mr. Myers arrived at Hopewell Lake Campground, that the individual had not placed his tag on the post yet?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You don't know or you don't think so?
I would have placed it there,
You would have placed what there?
the tag.
So you're saying there's no possible way that while Mr. Myers and Miss Hendricks were unloading their truck and setting up their tent at Site 21, a gentleman in a blue Chevy truck arrived and came there and talked to us and put his tag on the post and said he just reserved this while we were setting up?
That would have been the customer that reserved the site.
So it's possible the customer put the tag on the post.
He did.
Did you just testify that you put it on the post?
Normally, I do put them on the post.
I'm not asking about normally, sir. I'm asking you.
Yes,
Did
I
you
did say that, but I did, as I recall, I filled out the paperwork and gave him his tag and he went and put it on there.
So you did not put the tag on there yourself?
I did not.
So you cannot testify exactly when that tag was placed in relation to Mr. Myers and Miss Hendricks arriving at the site?
I can't.
Would you allow the possibility that Miss Hendricks and Mr. Myers spoke to the gentleman in the blue Chevy truck who came to put the tag on there?
I don't know.
Have you spoke to this gentleman since?
No.
So you won't disagree with the possibility that Mr. Myers and Miss Hendricks arrived at Hopewell Lake Campsite 21 and the post was empty?
I don't know.
Did you tell Mr. Myers when you arrived? Did you walk over to the post and pull the tag off and say, didn't you see the tag?
I showed you the tag, yes,
But you did not place the tag. Is that correct?
correct.
So to the best of your knowledge, Mr. Myers and the gentleman who reserved the site could have already spoken and determined that Mr. Myers was in no rush to move.
I don't know.
Is it possible that the gentleman was fishing at the lake?
I don't know.
Did the gentleman tell you he was fishing at the lake?
He said he was going to go down and fish and then get his trailer.
So is it possible that prior to you arriving to tell Mr. Myers he had to move, that him and this gentleman had a conversation and already could have possibly worked out the fact that he was in a reserve site and he was moving?
I don't know.
Did you ask?
I didn't.
Did you just come up and say you have to move?
I came up and explained that it was reserved, that it was already
What did Mr.
occupied.
Myers say? And what did Mr. Myers say in response?
He didn't.
He didn't say anything.
He asked where else he could go, and I gave him other options to move to.
Is that what you told Officer Moreno?
I didn't.
What did you tell Officer Moreno?
That you were in an occupied site, and I asked you to move.
And that I started saying, get the fuck out of here, First Amendment, all this, right?
Yep.
But you just said that I didn't say anything except, where can I move to?
Are you asking a question or making a statement?
I'm trying to just clarify.
What are you trying to clarify? Ask the question.
I'm trying to clarify if it's possible. You know what? Let me just play it. So, because the question revolved around, did you tell Officer Moreno that I said, okay, where do I need to move to, and moved and nothing else? Or did you tell Officer Moreno that I started cussing at you?
The situation started from when your dog ran at me and you came running at me with your hands clenched, cussing
We're
at
talking
me.
about the interaction prior to that, sir. Interaction prior to that.
You asked the question what I told Officer Moreno, and I'm telling you.
About the first interaction at the campsite. Not just what did you tell Officer Moreno, specifically, what did you tell Moreno when he asked you, what did Mr. Myers say when you told him he had to move?
I don't recall.
Here, we're gonna play it for you.
That's between you and
Yeah.
him, but he needs to leave. You need to leave. Told me I'm gonna learn about the First Amendment and all these amendments, and I just don't need that in here.
Okay. Did he pay for the night?
No, he hasn't paid nothing. And I asked him, I said, you need to leave, because with your aggression, it's not gonna work out here.
Okay.
And his girlfriend started crying. Well, I can stay because that wasn't part of that. I said, "Man, that's between you and
Yeah.
him, but he needs to leave."
What was he wearing?
He's wearing a T-shirt that says "Public Landowner" and shorts.
Okay.
He's in site 18.
So let me just reiterate what you told me. So he was staying at another area that was already reserved to someone. You asked him to leave. He got mad about that. What did he tell you?
He said, "It's not reserved." And I said, "Yes, it is." And I showed him the tag. The guy came in this morning, was parked there. I checked him in, and it shows he's there from today till the 6th. And he wasn't happy about that.
And then he moved.
Well, he hadn't moved, and I went back around probably 45 minutes later, and nothing had changed, and I parked. And when I got out of my vehicle, you can see this is the vehicle right here. this is where he went into the site, and he's got a beware of dog sign
Mhm.
right on the front of the windshield. So when that dog started at me, it was
How big is the dog?
It's pretty good size. It's
Oh.
a black lab pit mix. I don't know.
Okay.
And then he come out and jumped in my face and
What did he tell you?
told me to get the fuck off his property. And I didn't have no right there. And I just,
Did he threaten you?
well, yeah, I take that as
Okay.
especially when he's stuff like that.
Said he was clenched his fist and came up to your face. How close was he? About
Right
arm's
there.
length.
No. I mean, this is his face.
So
Yeah.
pretty close.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I talked to the manager and stuff. They said he needs to go.
Mhm.
So,
Okay. I'll go and tell him he needs to leave. He's not wanted or he's not allowed to be here. So you are the manager.
yes,
Okay.
I'm the camp host of this and the lake.
Okay. I'll go ahead and talk to him.
Okay.
Thanks.
Which supervisor told you to call 911?
Laura Blount?
And did she inform you for what legal reason?
I felt threatened by you, and I wasn't going to have you on site because of the potential of an issue. And being threatened, I didn't want to have to deal with you.
Being threatened. And which threats were those that you were worried about?
Your aggression.
And what is aggression and related to a threat? Can you articulate that a little better for us, please?
When you come running at me with your hands clenched and your fist cussing and being very vulgar, I feel threatened.
That's specific to Mr. Myers or in general?
In what you were doing.
I'm asking you in general.
In general, yes. Your aggression was threatening.
In which crime or state, what state or federal law or CFR do you believe this aggressive behavior violated?
I couldn't tell you. That's not a question for me to answer.
So you just called 911 and then it's up to them to decide if any laws were broken?
Yeah, I guess so. I called 911 because I felt threatened. And I wanted you off the property.
And your supervisor gave you the okay for that?
Yes.
Are you familiar with a traditional public forum?
No.
Do you know what a First Amendment liberty interest is?
No.
Do you know the federal code or statute for trespassing on federal land?
No.
Do you know the code for being aggressive on federal land?
No.
Can you point to any specific rule that you're aware of that you are responsible for enforcing at Hopewell Lake Campground that you believe Mr. Myers violated?
No.
But you just called and said you want him gone.
Your dog was not on a leash that ran at me, and then you came at me in a threatening manner. That is grounds for me to contact 911 and have you removed.
Is Mr. Myers charged for any of those behaviors?
I don't know.
Did you give a statement about any of those behaviors?
A statement for what?
What you just said. You just said that Mr. Myers threatened you and all this. So are you pressing charges?
No,
Do you know if there was an investigation?
I don't know.
Do you know the penalty for a dog being off the leash?
No,
Is there a penalty for a dog being off the leash?
I don't know.
You just know that Mr. Meyer's dog not being on a leash was a violation?
To the rules that were set in the campground, yes.
And those rules obey federal laws. All visitors and users of the National Forest are subject to federal regulation. The points of conduct listed above are included through enforceable through federal regulations. All of the regulations are published in Title VI of the Code of Federal Regulations and are on file at all Forest Service and District Ranger offices. Violations of orders and regulations is subject to punishment by a fine or imprisonment under 16 USC 551. Does that sound right to you?
Okay,
So let's pull up those laws that you referred to. Title 36 of the CFR. There we go. Pull this up for us. We'll go right over it. Let's see, do this. Here we are. Can you see that? Can you see that?
okay.
I can see it. Can you see it, Mr. Downey?
Yeah, I see Code of Federal Regulations.
Are these the ones that apply at Hopewell Lake Campground?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Are you responsible for enforcing these rules at Hopewell Lake Campground?
No,
Okay. So you're not responsible for enforcing whether Mr. Meyer's dog is off a leash or not?
I can inform them that the requirement is that they be on a leash.
And then what else can you do?
I can contact 911 if it determines to be that extreme and have them come deal with it. Just
Is a
as I
dog off
did.
a leash a violation of state law?
I don't know.
So when you call them for the dog off the leash, are you alleging somebody was committing a crime?
I'm not.
So what would be the necessary reason for you to call 911 if there's no law against something and you have no authority to enforce a law, even if there was one?
There are rules that
I
say
said law. A rule is not a law.
Okay, well, I'm not a law enforcement, so I can't enforce it.
But you stated that you have the authority to enforce trespassing against Mr. Myers.
I did.
You did what?
I did not say I had the authority to do that, but I asked them to remove you from the property.
Under what authority? If you don't have if you're not law enforcement.
As the campground host and manager of the site.
And those authorities are vested to you under what?
Managing the site.
Under what authority? What authority are you authorized to have someone removed for trespassing from Hopewell Lake Campground?
It could be many different things, but in this case, it was you being threatening and being very aggressive in your means and manners.
So is that trespassing or is that disorderly conduct?
I don't know. I don't make that determination.
You don't make the determination, but you called the police alleging somebody was violating the law, right?
I didn't say you were violating the law.
So why would Mr. Myers need to leave Hopewell Lake Campground if he wasn't violating the law?
Because you were being aggressive and threatening to me, and I didn't want to deal with it.
Is that illegal?
It could be.
I'm asking you if that was.
I don't know.
So you're testifying that you were allowed to have Mr. Myers removed for being aggressive, which is not even a violation of any law. That's what you're saying?
I contacted the police because I was threatened and you were being very aggressive and very vulgar.
Which
And
law gave you the authority to tell Officer Moreno to have Mr. Myers needed to be removed? Which law?
I don't know what law.
Did you tell Mr. Moreno that you wanted Mr. Myers removed?
Yes.
Did you tell Mr. Myers that you spoke to your supervisor about Mr. Myers being removed?
Did I talk to Mr. Myers about Mr.
Oh,
Myers?
Did you tell Moreno that you spoke to your supervisor and that person, you did? Did that person give you a law that cites Mr. Myers could be arrested for trespassing for being aggressive?
No.
Did you attempt to give the appearance of authority to Officer Moreno?
No. Other than being the host and the manager of the sites.
Does the host or the manager of the site give you the authority to issue trespassing warnings against guests?
I did not issue trespass warnings. I communicated what was going on and I wanted you left out of the facility. And
under what authority? What authority gave you the right? What authority authorized you to tell Moreno you wanted Mr. Myers removed? What authority were you acting on?
So are we just going to go in circles with this again?
What authority were you acting on when you informed Officer Moreno you wanted Mr. Myers removed?
I was the host and the manager of the sites.
Do you have somewhere you can point to that lists all the powers of the host and manager of the site?
No.
How were you informed, or how do you verify what your powers and authority is as the camp host at Hopewell Lake Campground?
We discuss it in meetings. I contacted my supervisor. They said contact 911 and have you removed. I did what I was told.
So you were just following orders?
Correct.
Were the orders you received based on your statements to your supervisor?
Yes.
Did anybody else contact your supervisor?
Not that I'm aware of.
Did your supervisor speak to Mr. Myers prior to being arrested?
No.
Did your supervisor tell you under which authority you are allowed to have Mr. Myers leave?
No.
Are you aware of the 14th Amendment?
I know there's a 14th Amendment.
Do you know what it says?
No.
Do you know what the First Amendment is?
Freedom of speech.
And what is the type of speech that is protected by the First Amendment?
I don't know.
So you just know there's speech, but you don't know which speech?
No.
So Are you familiar with unprotected speech?
No,
Are you familiar with true threats?
no,
Are you aware that Hopewell Lake Campground is designated a traditional public forum for First Amendment purposes by the United States Forest Service?
no,
Are you aware that speakers in traditional public forums receive the highest protections on their speech?
no,
Can you tell me the only speech that Mr. Myers or anybody, what is the only speech that Mr. Myers is not allowed to use in a traditional public forum?
no.
No what?
I don't know.
So you're not familiar with what speech you can and cannot use in a traditional public forum?
No,
Did Mr. Myers make any verbal threats to you?
no,
Did Mr. Myers incite a bomb threat?
no,
Did Mr. Myers scream fire in a movie theater?
no,
So your testimony is Mr. Myers used protected speech.
I don't know.
Okay. Those three things are unprotected.
Is that a statement or a question?
I feel you. I'll move on. And okay, so are you familiar with the due process clause?
No,
Are you familiar with the equal protection clause?
no,
Are you aware of what an individual's protected liberty interests are?
no,
Are you aware of the difference between a designated public forum and a non-public forum?
no,
Have you been trained in any way about the protections afforded to an individual under the Constitution at Hopewell Lake Campground?
no,
Did any of the other campers make statements prior to Mr. Myers being arrested?
no,
So no campers complain, no other camper, what about since then? Have any other campers complained about Mr. Myers' behavior?
no, nobody knows.
No what?
No,
So as far as we stand here, your testimony is the only testimony to support your side of the story or your testimony, you know. You have
Yes.
nobody to corroborate any of this?
yes.
Yes, what? You do have people or not?
No, I answered your question. That it's my statement.
What's a reasonable amount of time for one individual to pack up 2 tents, a kitchen, and 2 bikes into the back of a pickup truck?
15 minutes?
So you believe it in 15 minutes, somebody can take down 2 tents and load up their kitchen and 2 bikes into the back of a truck?
Yeah,
And that is based on what?
just what I see on a regular basis, and I can upload my fifth wheel trailer and be ready to move within 30 minutes. So
Well, so you can upload your fifth wheel within 30 minutes, but what does that got to do with what Mr. Myers asked you?
I'm giving you an example.
Does a
I
fifth
think-
wheel have to be taken down and rolled up and placed in a bag?
I think you can tear down 2 tents, load up your kitchen into a back of a pickup truck in 15 minutes.
And your
That's my-
expectation was that Mr. Myers needed to move within 15 minutes?
No, I had gave you over an hour or over 45 minutes to do it.
And when you came back the second time, that was you coming to enforce what rule?
Just to advise that you needed to move.
Had you previously advised Mr. Myers that he needed to move?
Yes.
What was the perceived benefit of coming in to tell Mr. Myers again?
To have you move.
So the perceived benefit of coming back to Mr. Myers' campsite and talking about the moving again for the second time, walking past the beware dogs sign, putting yourself in potential harm, was to tell Mr. Myers he needed to move again?
To remind you that you needed to move.
Were you informed that Mr. Myers was in need of reminder?
You hadn't moved, so I was going to remind you.
In the time after you spoke to Mr. Myers the first time at the campsite and the second time, did you speak to the individual who reserved the campsite?
No.
So you cannot testify if Mr. Myers and that individual agreed that he was in no rush.
No.
Is it possible that Mr. Myers spoke to that gentleman in the blue Chevy truck?
It's possible because you've already told me that you did.
Why was Miss Hendricks required to leave?
She was accompanied with you.
Is that a violation of any of the rules of the campground?
No.
Is guilt by association a crime in New Mexico?
I don't know.
Is guilt by association a crime under federal law?
I don't know.
Which camp rule did Miss Hendricks violate?
She didn't.
So why was she forced to leave?
Because she was with you in the vehicle, and if she would have stayed, you would have stayed, and I didn't want you there because your aggression and your threatening of me, and I just didn't want you in the campground.
Did Miss Hendricks have a First Amendment right to be at the Hopewell Lake Campground?
I don't know.
Did Miss Hendricks receive due process prior being told to leave?
I don't know.
Did you give Miss Hendricks due process prior to making her leave?
I didn't make her leave.
Who did?
The police officer.
Was it under your direction?
Most likely, it was tied in with you. Yep.
So she was required to leave because she was with me. Did Miss Hendricks attempt to use her America the Beautiful pass?
I do not recall ever seeing one.
Did you tell Miss Hendricks that that pass is not valid here?
I do not recall ever seeing one.
What did Mr. Myers come up to your truck and say when you told Miss Hendricks her America the Beautiful pass was not valid there?
I don't recall.
All right, we'll play the video.
You. You want possibly on Monday, possibly.
You're not gonna search it or something, are you? I'm an attorney.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna search. I'm not gonna search his
What
phone.
are you doing with it?
So
And Mr. Myers, you're still sharing the some statutes, so we're not seeing the video yet.
My bad. I feel you. I gotta.
Did you tell him to leave at any point?
Yes. I gotta like switch the screen that's shared. Hold on one second. All right, share. All right. Yep. And here you go.
Just to read.
The camera's on.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Sorry to put you into that.
So did you tell him to leave at any?
Mr. Downey, why did you apologize to Mr. Moreno there?
Do what?
Why did you apologize to Officer Moreno right there?
Officer Moreno. Where did I apologize to him at?
Can you see the video?
I see a screen, yeah.
All right,
Yes.
listen. Miranda versus Ohio. You know I'm an attorney, right?
You called an attorney?
Excuse me? No, that's the video. That's me in the back seat telling Moreno that I am an attorney. And so is my wife for the federal government.
Oh,
So we know our rights, if you feel me. But here we go.
are you okay?
Yeah.
Sorry to put you into that.
All right, right there. You just stated, sorry to put you into that to Officer Moreno. What was that? What were you apologizing for?
For him having to get into it with you and get hurt.
Isn't that why you called him, though?
One doesn't have the thing to do with the other.
You called Mr. Moreno, and when he spoke to you and when he arrived at the campsite, you instructed him you wanted me removed. Did you say I want him removed as long as you don't get in danger or whatever you're trying to insinuate here?
No.
You
I'm
told him you wanted your authority enforced. Is that correct?
I'm sorry?
You told Officer Moreno that you wanted your authority enforced.
Correct.
So what are you apologizing for?
That he got injured.
Did he get injured?
I assume so.
Based on what?
Officer Lee saying he got a bloody nose.
Is it possible he gave himself a bloody nose?
I don't know.
So you were just apologizing out of the kindness of your heart.
I was being kind. Yep.
Okay, let's go back to the video.
So did you tell him to leave at any point?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Okay. So that's just to reiterate, okay. Kind of just tell me everything again because I'm a little.
Bottle of water?
Yeah, do you have one?
Yeah.
Was your dog restrained in this video?
Yeah. So when he took that site that he wasn't.
Which site was
21.
it? 21.
And I told him he couldn't be there because it was already rented. He's fine. He's ready.
Okay, make sure that dog is, because that's.
Is the dog on a leash?
He's in the trailer.
So is he restrained in the trailer or is he on a leash?
He's restrained within the trailer.
So there are methods of restraint other than a leash?
Yes.
Thank you.
Go look down. And I told told them it was already rented out. And they said, no, it ain't. That they left. And I said, sir, here's the thing. I took it off the post and showed them it was, they checked in this morning and they were leaving the 6th. And I said, you need to pack up and move. And then he didn't do anything, and I seen him get on his bike and take off. So I just came back over here for a while, and then I went back over.
Did Mr. Myers mention anything about his bike prior to you seeing him leave on his bike?
Not that I recall.
So Mr. Myers didn't say that if you want me to hurry up, I'm gonna have to go catch up to my girlfriend on the Continental Divide Trail because she just went on a day hike?
I didn't.
But I told you that she was on the hike, right?
You said she was on a hike.
So did I just say she's on a hike, or did I say that my wife's on a hike and it's not going to be super quick and I need to wait till she get back to fully pack this up so we can see where we're going to move to?
I don't recall.
You only recall me telling you that my wife was on a hike.
That's all I recall.
Okay.
Pulled over, and that's when his dog came running out at me and attacked me, and I pulled my spray.
Did you just say that my dog attacked you?
I'm sorry?
Did you just state on camera right there that my dog attacked you?
It came at me like it was going to attack me, yes. Just as I've said several times.
So verbally, we heard the dog attacked me, but you're saying that, so you're saying audibly, the audible testimony available to all our ears is not consistent with what you actually meant?
As I've said before, the dog come running at me. I felt like it was going to attack me, and I pulled my spray.
All right, let's back this up a second. We're going to see if you said it, you felt like it was going to attack you or it attacked you.
Okay.
Here we go.
I told him it was already rented out. And I said, no, it ain't. That they left. And I said, sir, here's the thing. I took it off the post and showed them it was, they checked in this morning and they were leaving the 6th. And I said, pack up and move. And then he didn't do anything, and I seen him get on his bike and take off. So I just came back over here for a while, and then I went back over and I pulled over, and that's when his dog came running out at me and attacked me, and I pulled my spray. And
The dog attacked you and you pulled out your spray.
Yes. It's a figure of speech.
Do you feel like you should use figures of speech when you're giving testimony to law enforcement? Or do you feel like you should tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
That was the truth. The dog come running at me like it was going to attack me, and I pulled out my spray.
Is that what you told Officer Moreno, though?
It's a word of semantics.
Do you feel giving testimony in a police investigation is semantics?
I've gave the same statement here. I don't know how many times during this last 2 hours.
When this video started, you said that the dog attacked you.
Come running at me, acting like I was going to be attacked, and I pulled the spray. So that's the same thing I've said for 2 hours to you.
That's what you said today. That's what you're saying now, right?
That's what you say. That's what I've said the whole time.
But I just showed you a video of something different. So are you saying that that video is not you?
It's a figure of speech.
Do you feel somebody should be arrested for figures of speech?
That's not my decision.
Is it your decision to decide whether to tell the truth or not?
I've been telling the truth the whole time.
I'm just asking you if it's your decision. I didn't ask you if you were telling the truth or not. I'm asking you, are you the one who decides to tell the truth or not?
It is my policy to be honest and tell the truth.
So you feel like by telling the police officer on 3 occasions that the dog attacked you, as well as initially, you feel that was being honest?
I didn't say that.
You didn't
The
say
dog
what?
at me, acting like it was gonna attack me, and I pulled my spray.
That's what you're saying today, Mr. Downey, on 9/12.
That's what I said before too.
That's what you said? You said that the dog acted like it was gonna attack you?
Yep.
Okay, let's play that again then.
No, I know what that
You've
says,
asked your
but
question. Let's move on. You've asked your
Let's
question. Move on.
Sure that dog is, because that's,
Maybe I'm confused.
Then you can watch it on your own time. We're getting into 2 hours and you're
I
covering the
feel you,
same
I feel
thing.
you.
and
I just am trying to clarify. I want Mr. Downey to be able to explain why he said one thing but meant another, involving a law enforcement investigation.
And I think you did
Okay.
that very thoroughly.
I appreciate that. I know, I respect you. All right, so yeah, like you said, I only got a few. We'll get through this, right? Okay, because I'm not gonna sit here and beat him around the bush. Here we go. Did Miss Hendricks attempt to pay you for the campsite?
no,
Did she come up to the car?
she did. She run up from the campsite 18 up to the road to talk to me.
And what did she tell you?
I don't recall everything exactly.
Here, let's play the video. To help you recall here, let's see. I might have to switch the little window screen grab thing. Let's see, share. All right, so remember, I just asked you what Miss Henrik said to you when she came up to your car.
And I told you, I don't know.
Okay. I'm going to show you what you told Officer Moreno she said. Here you go.
That's between you and.
Yeah.
Told me I'm gonna learn about the First Amendment and all these amendments and I just don't need that in here.
okay. Did he pay for the night?
No, he hasn't paid nothing. And I asked him, I said, you need to leave, because with your aggression, it's not gonna work out here.
Okay.
And his girlfriend started crying. Well, I can stay because I wasn't part of that. I said, "Man, that's between you and,
Yeah.
but he needs to leave.
What was he wearing?
He's wearing a T-shirt that says public landowner
Uh-huh.
and shorts.
Okay.
He's in site 18.
So let me just reiterate what you told me. So
Let's get to the part where
This is the
you said.
pit mix. I don't know.
threaten you?
Well,
He's not wanted, or I will. So cardboard stuck.
I was like, what?
Let me go back to that other video. I apologize. That at the conclusion of that other video in front of your camper is when you say that she came up to the car and I came up and told you that you're going to learn about your rights today, which you are. This is the entire arrest. Let's go to this one, leaving camp. Right here, back to in front of your dog, right here.
and they were leaving the 6th. And I said, you need to pack up and move. And then he didn't do anything, and I seen him get on his bike and take off. So I just came back over here for a while, and then I went back over and I pulled over, and that's when his dog came running out at me and attacked me, and I pulled my spray. And they got the dog and took it back, and then he jumped in my face telling me to get the fuck out of there, that that's his property. And I said, I don't have to leave. And I said, you don't need to be vulgar, and you need to back up and get out. And then I went around to check in some other campers and they were there in 18.
Mhm.
And she come over, I was talking to some other campers. She came over when I got in the truck and goes, well, I'm gonna stay here. And I said, no, y'all need to pack up and leave because his aggression towards me is unacceptable and you all need to pack up and leave.
Leave.
And he goes, well, then he come barging over, he come running over. Well, you're gonna learn the amendments this week and talking all kinds of crap, you know.
So you did tell him he needs to
Yes,
leave.
I
Okay,
said-
how long ago was?
Right before I called you guys, I guess
It took you about
Let's
40
see.
minutes to get here.
Okay.
it's about 1:45 maybe.
Mhm.
And then I called you guys and you were here, 40 minutes. But I told him he needed to leave, that his aggression and everything is unacceptable. So
Okay. All right. No, that's all I need.
So at that moment, you told Officer Moreno that she came up to your car and said that she's going to stay here, right?
okay.
Did she come up to you and say, here's my money, we're staying right here, we're not going anywhere?
No,
So why did you call the police then?
I'm sorry.
You said that you did not call the police until after the encounter involving the pepper spray. And that you came around after we moved to Site 18, you drove around in your truck, and my wife approached your truck as you were passing Site 18 and came up to you with her America the Beautiful pass and the money and said, we're staying right here. You can take our money or we're not, it doesn't matter, we're not leaving.
No, that's, I had already contacted 911
Okay.
and when she came around, when she came up there, I never seen a pass and she never handed me any money.
Was I
to pay for
recording
the-
with myself? Was I recording with my cell phone? Did you testify that I came up to you and said that you're going to learn about your amendments this week?
You did?
What were you doing at that time as I came up to you?
I was driving away
From what?
from talking to the young lady.
The young lady being my wife?
If that's your wife, yes.
Is it the young lady you told who had to leave because she was with me?
If she was with you, yes.
I'm asking you, did the young lady that you referred to there on the body cam, is that the same young lady that was with me?
Yes.
So the young lady, as you refer to her, came up to your truck and you told her she had to leave. And after you told her she had to leave, Mr. Myers came up to your truck?
Yes.
And what did he say?
He said I was going to learn the amendments and the First Amendment and something else and call law enforcement. And I said I had already did and I drove off.
So Mr. Myers told you, go ahead, call law enforcement.
Yes, sir.
Did he indicate why he was comfortable with you calling law enforcement?
He didn't.
He didn't refer. Did you hear him say, it's my First Amendment protected liberty interest to be here?
Nope.
You just heard him say, it's my amendment?
I never heard him say it was my amendment. He said you stated you were going to teach me the amendments.
Which amendments?
I don't know. The First Amendment, I don't know. You said you were going to teach me the amendments.
Are you receptive to learning about the amendments?
I am not from you.
Are you aware that you are a camp host on a traditional public forum?
I feel like you asked this question probably about an hour and 30 minutes ago. Are we covering any new ground?
Yeah. Was he saying, I heard you, Mr. Wahlquist, I respect that. Was he saying something at the same time? It looked
Yeah,
Go
we
ahead and
keep
answer, mister.
questions over and over.
Okay.
You're sharing your screen and we can see your questions. I don't know
I'm
if
not
that
afraid.
bothers you or
No,
not.
I feel you. I respect that, sir, for sure. Even though I'd mail them to you right now. But since this incident, has anybody came and explained to you if Mr. Myers is allowed to be at Hopewell Lake Campground or not?
No, other than the letter that was sent and stating that you are not allowed on any of the campgrounds that are managed by Recreation Resource Management.
And what letter was that?
The one Tom Raddick sent to you.
Tom Zadek?
Yeah.
Funny you should mention that. We're going to read that. So you believe that Mr. Myers was sent a letter saying he can't enter which specific property?
Campgrounds managed by Recreation Resource Management of America.
When is the last time you spoke to Mr. Zadek?
It's been a while.
Did Mr. Zadek follow up with you and inform you that the Forest Service would vehemently disagree with you?
No.
So do you believe that Recreation Resource Management of America has the authority under federal law to revoke someone's First Amendment protected liberty interest to enter a traditional public forum?
That's out of my realm.
So you believe that Mr. Zadek can send someone a letter and that means they're not allowed to enter Hopewell Lake Campground?
Again, that's out of my realm.
So what happens if I show up tomorrow night to camp at Hopewell Lake Campground before my court date?
I'll call 911 and ask them to remove you.
And do you expect that they'll remove me?
I'd anticipate that.
And you would anticipate that based on what?
Based on the letter,
Which letter?
the letter you're referring to,
Can you provide a copy of it to Mr. Wahlquist?
I believe you have it.
No, to Mr. Wahlquist.
I'll have them send it.
You'll have him as in Mr. Zadek send it to Mr. Wahlquist?
Yes,
Do you believe that letter has any actual authority?
I don't know. That's beyond my realm.
So you would call 911 in lieu of that letter, but you're not sure if that letter has any authority.
Yeah,
Do you clean the toilets at Hope Campground?
I do.
Do you get paid to clean the toilets?
I do.
Do you get paid
What-
by Recreation Resource Management of America?
What does that have to do with this?
I think
Is
the
that your
last
answer?
question was whether or not you get paid by the company, and I keep forgetting the name. Do you get paid by that company?
Recreation
Yes.
Resource. Yes, you get paid for them by them.
Yes,
Do you collect the camping fees at Hope Campground?
I do.
And who do you turn those into?
The company,
Who specifically at the company?
Laura Blount.
Does she also maintain the record of everybody that stayed at Hopewell Lake?
I believe so.
Is Hopewell Lake Campground open to the public?
Yes,
Are you aware of any no trespassing signs at Hopewell Lake Campground?
no,
are you aware of any federal laws or rules or regulations that cover trespassing on national forest land?
No,
Are you, so is it possible that there's not trespassing is not a crime on federal land?
I don't know.
Can you confirm that Mr. Myers moved from the initially reserved site to another site?
I'm sorry?
Did Mr. Myers move from site 21 to site 18 prior to being arrested?
Yes,
Do you know what Article 2, Section 10 of the New Mexico Constitution is?
no,
Do you believe in the Constitution?
I do.
Do you think the Constitution is important?
It is.
Do you think people should have civil rights?
They do.
They do what?
They do.
Do you think people should have civil rights?
Yes,
Do you believe if someone has their civil rights violated, the person responsible should be held accountable?
sure.
Are you familiar with US 42, Section 1983 of the US Constitution?
No,
What is the penalty for somebody not paying at Hopewell Lake Campground?
I would contact the police and it would be reported as a theft.
Is that, and is that a policy that you've been told, or is it, can you, because I'm going to pull up the policy, so I'm wondering what policy you're referring to.
I don't know what policy it is, but it would be considered a theft from the government, I'm sure.
Are you sure, or would you rather just say you're not sure?
So I don't know. I don't know the law.
So you don't know the law. Do you know if Mr. Myers broke the law?
When you threaten me and aggressively come after me,
We're talking about not paying, sir. You allege that Mr. Myers refused to pay.
no, I didn't allege that. I didn't allege that.
You
I
did not
asked you-
tell,
Asked
you did not tell
I-
law enforcement? Did you tell
I-
law enforcement?
I
Mr. Myers-
asked, stop. I asked you to leave the campground, and at that point, you were not required to pay.
Did you tell Officer Moreno that Mr. Myers did not pay?
Yes, because
Did
he asked
Officer
me if
Moreno-
you, he asked if you had paid, and I said no.
Okay. Did you say no, he didn't pay because I wouldn't take his money, or no, you know, or did you just say no?
I just said no.
Okay. So here we're gonna look at my screen, and we're gonna look at the penalty for not paying for a campsite. Okay? Can you see that?
Sure.
Yes, we can see it. It looks like you're
Recreation
scrolling through a
fees.
bunch of statutes.
Yep, recreation fees. Failure to pay a fee is prohibited, notwithstanding 18 USC 3571 subsection E, the fine is imposed for the first offense of not payment shall not exceed $100. Can you tell me where that says that you're charged with theft?
I don't know what you're asking.
You had answers. Do you need me to clarify what I'm asking?
What is the question?
What is the penalty for not paying for a campsite?
You just read it.
Is that your statement though?
No, that's the code right there that you're reading.
Okay, I'm asking you what your belief is.
My belief would be it would be theft from the government, which would apply to that code, and you could be charged under that code.
So it's your belief that this code is not the actual code?
That's the code. If that's the code written, that's the code.
This is right off the .gov website.
Okay. So what are you asking?
I asked you what you believe the penalty is for not paying, but you've given that. You said it was not, you believed it was theft. So we'll move on. So here we go. Let's get to, okay. Did you see Mr. Myers engage in fighting?
No.
Did you see Mr. Myers address any offensive, derisive, annoying communication to another person who is lawfully present when such communication has a direct tendency to cause acts of violence by the person to whom individually the remark is addressed?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I just read it to you word for word.
What?
Do you want me to read it again?
You asked me a question.
Yes. Did you observe Mr. Myers using any offensive, derisive, annoying communication to any other person who is lawfully present when such communication has a direct tendency to cause acts of violence by the person to whom individually the remark is addressed?
Are you referring to threatening me and cussing at me?
I'm asking you, did you observe Mr. Myers exhibit any of those behaviors?
If that is intended to mean you were cussing at me and threatening me, yes.
It says that, okay, so did you violently react to Mr. Myers?
No, I didn't.
Did you use any violence?
No.
Then that wouldn't apply. Because
Thank
my
you.
offensive, derisive, annoying communication did not have a tendency to cause any acts of violence by you.
Is that a statement or a question?
He's having trouble.
Thank you.
All right. Next thing. Did you observe Mr. Myers exhibit or make any statements or other action directed towards inciting or producing imminent lawless action and likely to incite or produce such action?
I don't know.
Did you observe Mr. Myers exhibit or behave in a way that would cause public inconvenience, annoyance, or alarm by making unreasonably loud noise?
No.
Those are the elements of disorderly conduct at Hopewell Lake Campground.
Okay.
Thank you. Do you believe you gave any false, fictitious, or fraudulent report or other information to any Forest Service officer engaged in or on account of the performance of their official duties, knowing that such report or other information contains false, fictitious, or fraudulent statement or entry?
No.
Did you tell the Forest Service that my dog attacked you?
No, that it ran at me and I pulled my mace to prevent that.
Did you use the words, my dog, Mr. Myers' dog attacked you?
No.
You did not use the words, dog attacked me?
You know, I don't know.
We literally just watched a video that showed it.
I just, we've gone through this how many times in the last 2.5 hours?
You put yourself in this position, sir. Let's just remain professional.
Can we clarify the question? Because I believe your question was whether or not he told the Forest Service about getting attacked with a dog, whereas the video we watched, I believe that was with the
Mr. Wahlquist,
officer.
Mr. Wahlquist, you are 100% correct. That's why I was so confused, why he was confused, referring to his previous statements about Moreno.
So let's ask a clearer question.
Thank you. My question is specifically to the Forest Service employees, not your supervisor, not Officer Moreno, not anybody else, Miss Jennifer, or any other Forest Service you spoke to. Did you tell them that my dog attacked you?
No, I said that the dog came after me or came at me, and I pulled my mace to protect myself.
So if the report that was given to me from Miss Jennifer contains the statement that you aver that the dog attacked you, that's incorrect?
You know, it's a matter of interpretation. Attack. If it's running after you, if it's running at you, that could be considered an attack. So
This is not philosophy cast, sir. This is a court of law.
It's words.
Words matter. Technicalities matter. Legal definitions go by words.
The dog attacked me. It came at me like it was attacking me, and I pulled my mace. I've said that over and over and over and over and over.
No, it's not over and over, sir. There seems to be some confusion. This is the first time I asked you if you told anybody employed by the Forest Service if my dog attacked you. We've already went over the situations where you addressed Moreno about the dog attacking you, and you informed me that that's what you said, but that's not what you meant. So I'm referring to the Forest. Miss Jennifer or anybody else, did you give the figure of speech? Did you use the words? Is it possible that you said his dog attacked me in this to a Forest Service in the statements you gave to a United States Forest Service officer?
We did cover this at 1:15. I'm scrolling through the transcript, and you asked him about the statement he gave to Jennifer at 1:16 p.m.
About the
and there are
dog?
things about the statement there. So that's over an
About
hour
the dog?
ago.
About the dog?
Let's just ask the question, Mr. Downey, answer it again, and let's move on.
Respect. So to the best of your we'll just move on. Are you aware of any code you can point to on these rules posted at the campground where we could, Mr. Wahlquist and I would be able to view what you believe to be the rule that Mr. Myers broke? Could you point, Mr. Wahlquist and I, to that rule on the sign, that now that you've seen the sign? Because what's scrolling in front of you is exactly what's posted at the campground.
Okay, no, I can't.
Okay. I'm going to turn off that screen for a second. You should be close. I'm just going to scroll through. Other than cleaning the toilets, what else do you do at Hopewell Lake Campground?
Take care of the campsites, clean the fire pits, pick up the trash from everybody, collect
Was
money
July
at the
1st?
lake.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Was July 1st the first time you ever met Mr. Myers?
Yep.
Excuse me? Was July 1st the first time you ever met Mr. Myers?
If it was July 1st, yes.
To the best of your knowledge, has Mr. Myers ever been kicked out of Hopewell Lake Campground prior?
I wouldn't know that.
Did you attempt to verify that?
No, there's no reason for me to verify that.
Did you know Mr. Myers' name prior to him being arrested?
No.
To the best of your knowledge, has Mr. Myers ever been banned for trespassing on National Forest land?
I don't know.
Is Miss Hendricks allowed to return to Hopewell Lake Campground?
I don't know who that is.
The young lady.
Oh,
She's not
Hey.
young though.
I'd have to get verification
From who?
from the Forest Service and Recreation Company.
You would need to get verification that Miss Hendricks is allowed to enter Hopewell Lake Campground?
As far as I know, if you're coming in with her, I would have to get verification.
Can you do that throughout, is that something you can do quickly here right now for both of my and Mr.
No.
Wahlquist's benefit?
No, I can't. I'm on the phone with you.
So that's something you would need to contact your supervisor about?
Yes.
Have you spoke to John Serrano?
I don't even recall the name.
He's a employee of the Forest Service.
Yeah, I don't know who he is.
Let me read this statement you claim. While witness and employee statements vary greatly from yours, my call today was to give you an opportunity to share your side of the story. Since you hung up on me, the chance is now past. When you entered a rented reservation site and were asked to move to one of 3 available sites, a simple "sorry, I will get on it right away" would have been enough. You admit you were given the choice of 3 sites in your statement. We tried in that moment to solve the issue for you. A simple "thank you" and "we will take that site and move on as soon as possible" would have been the end of the situation and the start of your holiday weekend. Your escalation of the situation and aggressive demeanor left our employee no choice but to return to his camper and call 911. This is company protocol for this type of situation. 911 dispatched the state of New Mexico police. The officer interviewed our employee first and then came to speak to you. Long story short, you physically assaulted a law enforcement officer by punching him and breaking his nose. Then he and the backup officer had to wrestle you to the ground, arrest you, and take you to jail. Post-incident, they informed our employee of the situation, and your family was asked to leave by law enforcement due to your actions, not ours. Thus, the reason you spent 3 days in jail, your aggressive nature, unwillingness to move, and comply with a simple request is the sole problem. Your actions with the state police are yours to own up to also. We will, however, support and help any investigation leading to any charges brought upon you due to your actions that day. After reviewing the situation in its entirety, understanding your propensity for aggressive behavior, and speaking to U.S. Forest Service representatives, I too have a request. Please do not contact, speak to, approach, or enter any RRM of A operated facility nationally. Your name has been sent to our corporate office, permit managers, and infield hosts. If they see you in these facilities or are approached, they have been instructed to call 911 and stay in their RV until law enforcement deals with you. If you wish to communicate with our corporation, your legal counsel may contact me direct. Violations of this request will be seen as harassment and threats to our safety. So that's the letter you believe means I can't come to Hopewell Lake.
Yes, as far as I know.
As far as you know, that's the letter you're referring to that was sent to me.
Correct.
And as far as you know, the Forest Service hasn't followed up with anybody to tell them that that letter is not valid.
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that you're aware of. So tomorrow when I come to Hopewell Lake Campground, what can we expect?
I would ask that you not do that until verification has been done.
Well, you better get to verifying.
Is there a statement or a question?
I'm asking him what's going to happen when I show up tomorrow and exercise my First Amendment rights that with a letter in my hand from the Forest Service that says I'm allowed to be there.
That's not the purpose of today's interview. Today's interview is
you, I
regarding
feel
the
you.
criminal case.
I feel you. I feel you. Is Mr. Myers allowed to enter Hopewell Lake Campground?
I don't know.
So you don't know. All right, Mr. Wahlquist.
That's
You
it. We're
good?
done. Yeah, that's it. All right,
seen
thank
what
you,
need
Mr.
to
Downey.
see. You
Pardon
gonna,
me?
I said you've seen what you need to see. I'm gonna, are you gonna send me that over again? By email?
Yeah, the same thing I did just from this morning. Yeah. Once my
Okay.
IT person comes back in and helps me. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Are you gonna call? Is he still here?
Mr. Downey, you can go ahead and hang up.
Are you
And,
calling him at the hearing?
Not on Thursday, no.
What
Let me
about
stop
Marino?
this. Yeah, Marino plans on being there.
At the pretrial or because technically you didn't file this case, okay? Moreno did. He initiated all this. It was a officer prosecution. The only reason I got you on here now is because I demanded a jury trial.